Hello again, volunteers.
Hi volunteers. This video is about how you as an online volunteer can become a detective. You will be gathering information at home on your computer so that the on-the-ground volunteers have something to add to and work with out in the real world.
Now watch carefully because there's a bit to take in, but don't worry because there is a training booklet that you can refer to on this page.
When you go to the online challenges page, you see training videos, including this one, and a series of cards which you can click on. They all invite you to add suggestions for places to appear on the WheelEasy map in areas that we've decided to focus on next. Your suggestions will then appear on the ground challenge cards for volunteers to complete when they're out and about. You can do all this on your computer at home. This is your opportunity to be a detective, to uncover any relevant access information that you can find on the web and maybe following up with a quick phone call. All the info you found will then appear on the card which volunteers go on to use for the on-the-ground challenges. Choose a card showing an area you want to cover. It has a map with a shaded area and points of interest on it. More points of interest appear the more you zoom in. We want you to add as many relevant points of interest as possible within this shaded area. Click on a point of interest and this blue button will automatically detect it, and the details will automatically complete for you. If the button doesn't detect the place you click on, or the name isn't on the map, select the button and then enter the name by hand. And each time one of your suggestions is accepted by our moderators, a grey pin appears on the card. At the bottom of the page here is the Add Access Info section. This is where you can use your detective work to add access information you find out online or on the phone. So please use this section to add it. It will save the on-the-ground volunteers lots of time, and you'll win extra points for your leaderboard total. If you don't want to focus on the areas on our cards, and you would prefer to cover your local area, or you think there's another area we should concentrate on, you can use the Suggest Places Near You card. Now we'll outline the approach to completing your card and give you some suggestions about what you should be looking out for. Remember that WheelEasy is a TripAdvisor for access, so we want you to add all those places you'd usually go on a day out with friends or family. That's leisure activities, enjoying time at the beach or the park, eating out or having a picnic, or going to a museum or a cinema, that kind of thing. And we also want you to add some really practical things like accessible parking and toilets. But please also bear in mind that we don't list shops. Most leisure points of interest will already be visible in the shaded area of your chosen card's map, and remember that more will appear as you zoom in. Click on and add as many of these points of interest as possible, regardless of whether they're accessible or not. At this stage, you're simply making a helpful card for the on-the-ground volunteers to use later. As you come across larger venues and public places, such as museums and cinemas, or sports centres and pools, or stadiums, or parks and beaches, etc., we want you to do a little extra research and add the access info you might already be able to find out online. Simply Google the venue to find out if there's access info on the place's own website, or maybe the local council's website. Sometimes you'll find places that don't fit into any obvious category. If you're unsure, please put these ones in the Other Facilities and Attractions category, and our moderators will double check. Several categories which are really important you won't find on your shaded map and will need a bit more research. They are strolls and public lifts, and most importantly, accessible toilets and accessible parking. Without being able to park or pee, a day out would be easily ruined. You'll find nearly all public accessible toilets on the Public Toilet Map website, and there's a filter to find the accessible ones. Please add only these. Many of these listings will also have useful access detail to put into the Add Access Info section. With parking, concentrate on public and on-street parking spots. Council websites sometimes have lists or a map of accessible parking places. If they don't, it's worth giving them a call, as many have this information listed offline. Google Street View is another way to identify on-street accessible parking. You can use it to wander up and down the main streets in your area and look out for these blue accessible parking signs. Lastly, parkopedia.com.au lists all privately owned car parks, which usually have paid for accessible parking. And there's a third practical utilities category that may also not be on the shaded map. That's lifts. And we're looking for lifts that are public lifts, and these are usually outdoors. There is no straightforward way of identifying them. You may find some in the shaded map area, otherwise you could try looking on the local council website, or again give the council a call to see if they keep a list offline. The other category that you won't find on the map is strolls. People who have difficulty getting around or finding things to do on a day out with their family often really appreciate going for a stroll. These are mostly flat, well-paved pathways that are often through bushland or by water, a beach, a harbourside or a lake. You can research these using TripAdvisor's Things to Do section. You'll also find some on disability travel blogs. This blog is written by the mother of a disabled child who got fed up with the lack of access for her and her son, so she started her own list of things they like to do. These blogs are well worth searching for using Google search terms such as Disability Travel Blogs Australia. Remember, your role as an online volunteer will help make the job of the on-the-ground volunteers so much easier because they're going to have your really useful map to follow.
We want you to drop as many grey pins on the cards as you can. The more the better.
And this is regardless of whether a place is accessible or not, because those on-the-ground volunteers are going to check out the accessibility when they're there.
Many thanks again and good luck.